Boo?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and we are back to talk about Little Fires Everywhere. I'm upset with all of you because none of you called me and told me that the episode was super good and I should have been watching it on Wednesday. Today is Friday. It was good. Nobody called me and was like, hey Danny, whatever you're doing, put it down, stop, sit down, and watch Little Fires Everywhere. Nobody did that. Y'all are fake and my feelings are hurt, okay? I was right the whole time. Let's talk about it, okay? So, what is this on my face? I don't know. We're gonna ignore it. Okay. Anyways, let's see. Okay, so we start off with the young Elena in Paris, living her best life, in the late 70s with, a college boyfriend. She's ready to go back home and live the life that her parents have set up for her, and he doesn't want to leave. So he's like, well, I'm going to take a chance with, they're both studying journalism. He's like, I'm going to take a chance with doing, you know, my journalism here. And she's like, well, you know, you're supposed to come back with me and you're supposed to, I don't know what this is on my face. I will be right back. They end up breaking up because she said she's going home to live the good life that her parents have set up for her, and if he doesn't want to come, then that's on him. So they break up. Linda and Frank, we already know, are a mess because of what happened to them. Not only is Linda and Frank a mess, now Elena is a mess because Elena got caught up in some BS trying to extort BB. So, you know, she started out to us, she's the perfect mom. She's getting her family ready. She's making them breakfast. She's making them lunch. Elena not doing that. Elena is in the kitchen stressed with the kids and Bill. The kids are like moody, to be exact. It's like, Mom, where's lunch? She's like, shit, y'all gonna fend for yourselves. So, her and Bill are just talking or whatever, and they're just really trying to figure out what's going on. Billy's gonna represent Linda and Frank for this this custody battle, and they're trying to figure out how BB was able to afford the lawyer that they have. How did she come up with the money to get him to work for her? And they're, you know, Elena brings it up again. Oh, is he working for free? Which I don't think he is. I mean, I just don't think he is. While they're in the kitchen talking, Izzy comes down and she's looking at the newspaper, and the pregnant picture that we saw of Elena, it's in the New York Times, showing that picture has sold for $400,000. Mia is on the front page. A pregnant Mia is on the front page. So she's like, oh, well, this is probably where the money came from. In that time also, Izzy is telling Elena and Bill that she's been spending all of her time over at Mia's, helping her with her art, like I said, like a mini apprentice. And this is when Elena, because Elena didn't think any of her kids, you know, would go over there because they're too good to be over there. But this is when she tells Izzy, you know, you better not be over there. I better not catch you over at their house. The same way Mia had told Pearl she better not catch her over at Chateau Richardson. So she's like, you better not be over there. I better not catch you over there. But y'all know Izzy ain't seen it for Elena since we started this series and don't care nothing about none of that. When Elena tells Izzy that, Izzy's like, are you just upset because she says, oh, she was wrong for this. She said, are you upset because Mia is helping BB, or is because Mia is in the New York Times and you'll never be? I was like, dang, girl, like, I know y'all don't like each other like that, but you ain't have to say all that. Like, you know, it's a soft spot, and we're gonna get more into how Elena feels about her career in this episode. Apparently Moody and Pearl still are out on the rocks. They're still not talking. But honey, we flashed to the bathroom at school, and what did I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all? Lexi is in the bathroom, and she is having Pearl read her pregnancy test results. And guess who's pregnant? Miss Lexi is pregnant. But remember last episode, we was talking about if you can't take care of your kids, don't be having none, but you ain't been out here using no type of contraceptives. You've been out here. Let me stop, because I'm about to say something I'm not supposed to say. She's pregnant, okay? She's pregnant. Pearl's like, oh, it's gonna be fine, and Lexi's like, nah, girl, this ain't supposed to be my life. No, this ain't it. Something I forgot to mention in the last recap, I had wanted to mention how I had noticed that Mia is always saying how Pearl is hers, and she says it like she's property, and that same morning, Mia sees that she's, you know, in the paper as well. So she calls her gallerist, and they're talking or whatever. And her gallerist obviously knows more than what we know that she knows. So she's telling me, oh, everything's gonna be fine. No one's coming after, you know, you and Pearl. Y'all are gonna be okay. And I have some theories at the end of this once we discuss about what happened in this whole episode. After Lexi found out her pregnancy test results, she is giving Brian like a hypothetical, like if we had a baby like now type thing, and he's like, oh no, we can't do that, you know, like I'd be a stereotype if I had a baby right now, like, you know, that's far down the line. And then he says, oh, you should probably get on the pill. After how many times that y'all had sex by now? Now we want to discuss getting on the pill. We're a little late. So Lexi is obviously like, oh crap, like I've gotta, like she's trying to tell him, like she wants to talk about it, but when she hears how he's like, oh no, we can't have babies right now, she kind of keeps that to herself. She's looking real uneasy. Switch gears for a second, and apparently a judge, for the moment until they go to court, has ordered that BB gets supervised visits with the baby. And I just want to point out the little cameo. I don't know if you guys have watched Vampire Diaries, but I don't know if y'all remember the sheriff of the town, Caroline's mom, Carol Forbes, but she was, I guess, the mediator. So I was like, oh girl, all right, I ain't seen you in a minute. Hey girl, how you doing? Anyways, so jumping back, Elena is being the Nancy Drew that she is, honey, and she is out here for blood. So she's looking up all this stuff while she's still in Shaker for the moment. She's looking up all this information. She's trying to find stuff, as much out about Mia as she can. And she, you know, she's calling people back in New York to see who knows Mia, to see if they know anybody from the gallery where the painting was sold from. And in this, we see that she finds the lady that was on the train with Mia, and her name is Pauline, excuse me. Her name is Pauline. And so she's trying to find this Pauline lady to see if, you know, Pauline can give her some information, and she never gets in touch with Pauline. So, going back to the house, Bill is like, you're letting all of this drive you crazy. Elena's not really worried about anything that Bill is talking about. She just tells Bill, like, I've got to figure out who this woman is. So she's like, I'm going to New York. He's like, no, you're not. She's like, yes, I am. She said, I'm going to New York. I'll be back in 2 days. And she runs out until the middle of the night. It's raining. Bill's standing out there looking at her crazy. And she's like, peace. She didn't say, I'll be back. Tell the kids I love them. Nothing. She was out, gone. While they were talking, Lexi came down and she was trying to talk to Elena because Elena was in the kitchen by herself for a second. So I'm pretty sure she was trying to tell her, like, hey, like, let me tell you what's going on with me. But she got caught up in the midst of what Elena and Bill were doing. So she just she was like, never mind, don't worry about it, and went on her merry way. Now, when Elena gets to New York, she is, like I said, out for blood. So she goes and she finds Mia's old high school, and she's trying to get records for them, but they won't really give her anything. I think she ends up getting like a, some type of class roster. So she finds Mia's name on it and her address, and Mia's last name is Wright in this paper, not Warren. So while Elena is, you know, in New York, in the Big Apple, she's like, well, okay, you know, my ex, who I broke up with in Paris, works at the New York Times. Let me go see him. So this is when Elena starts to have her shoulda, coulda, woulda moment. So she goes to see him, and she's getting him, since she's saying she doesn't have access while she's there in New York, she's getting him to really get all the information that he can on Mia from the little bit that she found out. So he's like, well, okay, how do I get this to you? And they end up saying, oh, we're going to go to dinner tonight. I was like, dinner? And you married? I was like, all right, girl. Like, you tread lightly, because I didn't know where this was going. So they have dinner, and, you know, he gives her all the information or whatever. And we see that Mia had a brother whose last name was Warren. But he died, and Mia's last name is Wright. And then, you know, she's really excited that they got all this information. Okay, we push all that to the side, honey, because mess is about to ensue. Okay, they're sitting at the table flirting and rehashing the times that they had together. And he's like, oh, how are you? And she wants to talk about the family. He like, I ain't studying your family. How are you? So she's like, oh, I've been good, you know, whatever. And he's like, well, you know, they're just rehashing, you know, their relationship and the good times that they had. And then eventually, you know, throughout this night, they actually get into it. And they get into it because he's like, well, why did you really come and see me? And she was like, oh, because I needed help. He was like, no, you didn't need my help. He was like, I just want you to admit for once that you came to see me because, you know, I guess he's trying to say, like, she missed him. And she was like, well, you're the one. She's like, oh, well, come back to my room with me. I was like, oh, girl, wait a minute. Wait, like, let you tell it you don't do nothing wrong. You do everything about the book. You're perfect. And he's like, come back to the room with it. He's like, I can't do that. He's like, I was just testing you. Because he had told her there was going to be a nightcap. He said, I was just testing you. He said, I was just testing to see where, you know, where your mind was, where your psyche was. He's like, I just want you to admit that the life that you thought that you were gonna have, it's not, you're not happy with it. It's not as cracked up as you thought it was gonna be. It's not, it's just not what it was supposed to be. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, whatever. He was like, you know what, just like this. He's like, every time you come, he's like, this isn't the first time you call me. Every time you call, I come running. He was like, and you just need to admit to yourself that maybe you made a mistake in going back home and just living the life that your parents set up for you. Maybe you should have took a chance the same way that I did. So he had her feeling bad, honey. And this whole time while she's out, her husband is calling her left and right, leaving voicemail after voicemail, and Elena is not returning any of them. So Elena takes a trip. And we're just going to pause there for a minute because we're going to come back to where she took a trip. But Elena takes a trip. She sleeps overnight in her car. She wakes up. The police officer wakes her up. Y'all remember the same way she sent the police officer over to Mia and Pearl in the first episode. But he, instead of like, oh, you know, get on about your business, he was like, oh, well, you probably should just move because this isn't a good area, you know, for you. You know, nice white lady, you know, you shouldn't be here. This isn't a nice area for you. Okay. So, hopping back to Lexi and what she's got going on. Okay, so we see Lexi in a clinic. And so when Lexi was at the clinic, I was like, ooh, I already know where this is going. I was like, oh, wow, she's at this clinic by herself. But then we see that Pearl shows up. And in the midst of her and Pearl talking, she's just thanking Pearl, you know, for being there for her. Because, you know, she didn't tell Brian. She's just trying to do this on her own. And, when the lady calls Lexi to come back to the room to do what they need to do, she calls Pearl's name. And she's like, oh, it's me. And Pearl's looking at her like, girl, what? Like, you signed my name up for you to get your abortion? And she's like, oh, she's like, she was like, her excuse was she was scared because her mom's friend works there. So she's back there all by herself. She is scared. And I can just imagine being in that room by yourself doing something that's so hard. Like, I know, like, women who do this who, like, they have a hard time, like, doing that process. So I'm pretty sure as a teenage girl, it was really hard. And Elena, while you out in New York having the best time of your life before the little argument, your child is back in Shaker, your second child, by the way, with the problem, and you're nowhere to be found. Nowhere. So, they get the procedure done, and, you know, they come out, and Pearl's gonna drive her home, and they get in the car, and Pearl's like, I can't believe you, like, you used my name, like, that's okay. And she's like, well, I couldn't use my name because if it was my name and this got out, like, it wouldn't be okay, like it's gonna be fine if Pearl name gets out that she had an abortion. Like her name, Lexi Richardson, has more weight. It means more than what Pearl's does. And so Pearl is like, girl, whatever. Like for once she's seeing what Mia told her, like, you're only as good as what you can do for Lexi. That's why Lexi likes having you around. And so they, Lexi's like, don't take me home. Like, you can't take me home. If you take me home, my dad's gonna know. So Pearl takes Lexi to her house, and when she gets there, you know, Mia takes care of her. Mia asks what happens. They tell her. And, you know, Mia takes care of her, Elena, since you were saying she was such a horrible mother. But this is, once again, your second child that's at her house that she's seeing after. But she's a terrible mother, remember? But you're nowhere to be found. You're out trying to get your back blew out, but the man don't want you. So, we're just kind of going to stay on this for a second. Mia gets Lexi settled and everything. She goes out into the hallway and she's talking to Pearl. And Pearl is looking at, I guess, like the discharge papers or whatever. And so when Mia sees that it's Pearl's name, Pearl's like, well, I guess, you know, you're going to gloat. You're going to say, oh, I told you so. And she's just told Pearl, she's like, no, I'm not. She's just like, I wish you would have seen it, like I said before, that you're only as good as what you can do for her. As long as there's something for you to do for her, she'll keep you around. You'll be her friend or best friend or whatever. But, you know, once that stops, then she's going to throw you to the side and pick up somebody else who can do something for her. So in the midst of this and them talking, you know, they just, Pearl tells Mia, well, while we're on the subject of all this, I had sex with Trip. She's like, what? You had sex with Trip? I thought maybe it would have been Moody. And she was like, no, you know, like, I was seeing it for Trip. And, you know, so they just kind of talk about that for a second, and the phone rings. And when the phone rings, it's Trip. So Pearl meets Trip at the park, and he's just like, oh, that was your first time, which she had already discussed with me, and that was her first time. It went all that people, oh, it's okay, it's fine. They're lying. My first time was horrible. Like, I don't know what I was doing. I was out here being fast. She was like, you know, you just ran out on me or whatever. And he's like, I didn't mean to run out on you. He's like, my brother likes you. He was like, so then he just basically says he's intimidated by Pearl because she's not like, when he told her she was different, I couldn't roll my eyes hard enough. I was like, all right, whatever, here we go. You're different, you're special, you're not like the other girls. Okay. I was like, oh, don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. That's what every teenage boy across America, in the world, is telling some girl right now, and it's a lie. But, he just lets her know he's kind of intimidated by her intelligence, and they smooth those things over. He lets her know I guess he does like her. So they, without saying it, decide to, I guess, pursue this thing. I want to know if they're going to pursue it undercover, like not in public where everybody can see it, because remember, ding ding ding, Moody. So that's what I want to know. So back at home, Lexi wakes up, she goes in the kitchen, and she's like, oh, where's Pearl? She's like, oh, she went out or whatever. She's like, okay. So Mia hands Lexi all of her privilege to her on a hot silver platter, honey. She tells her, she was like, because Lexi is like, oh, I didn't have anyone, like, she's sorry for using Pearl's name. I didn't have anywhere else to go. I didn't have anyone to call. And Mia's like, yes, you did. You just chose not to. She's like, Pearl doesn't have the same advantages as you, and here you are taking the little advantages that she has away from her to keep you out of whatever mess it is that you've contrived up. So she's like, you need to learn to take responsibility for yourself and your actions. She's like, people aren't going to be out here just laying down like doormats, which is what Pearl's been doing. Pearl's been a doormat out here letting Lexi walk all over her. People aren't going to be out here letting you just do whatever to them just because they are less fortunate than you, and you need to get yourself together. So she left Lexi feeling bad about herself. Hopefully this is a turnaround for her, but I don't know. I feel like Lexi is the type that does stuff, things happen, she acts like it didn't happen, and then she keeps moving and doing what she does. But we'll see from here on out. Also, in that conversation that Mia and Pearl had, they discussed, Pearl asked her, she was like, can you please just tell me a little bit about my dad? And she was like, yeah, I'll tell you about your dad. And she told her, like, he just wasn't ready for a kid. That's what she told her. But later on, Mia has a nightmare again, and she gets back on this train, and Jesse is there with all his finest again. And he's kind of following her down the train this time, and all throughout the train on the walls and stuff is that picture of Mia pregnant, and he's following her down the walls, and the lights are flickering, and there's flickers of red in between some of the flickers. And she wakes up, and with her waking up, she just told Pearl that she was wanted, like she really was wanted, like she was loved, and that she loves her, basically. The next morning, this whole episode, Izzy wasn't doing much this episode. The only thing she was doing was she was trying to come up with like an apology letter for Mia, because she ended up telling Mia that she had rummaged throughout her stuff while she wasn't there, so Mia was upset with her and kind of shut the door on her. So she goes over to leave this on the doorstep for Mia to find, and out walks Miss Lexi. So she's like, well, what are you doing here? And Lexi doesn't answer her. Lexi, you know, makes her way to her car so she can leave, and Izzy is upset about this. I guess to her in her mind, like, that's not her safe haven anymore, because, well, there's my sister over here as well. Like, who knows from now on if when I come over here, she's over here too. Now, we are going to hop back to Elena. So, like I said, Elena took this trip, slept outside of this unsafe area because it was full of black people. And she goes to the address that either she found of Mia, or either something else that Jamie gave her. And she goes and she talks to Mia's parents. And she's talking to Mia's parents, and they tell her that they haven't seen Mia since she was pregnant. And she's like, so you haven't seen your grandchild? And Mia's mom says the baby that Mia was carrying wasn't hers. So hold on. So we go back to Mia real quick, and Mia is you know, just wrapping up this episode. Mia's on the phone with the lady from the gallery again, and she's like, you need to tell Pearl, like, maybe you should come clean. Like, she's asking her for advice. She's like, maybe you should just come clean, tell her the truth, and then hope for the best. And Elena's like, Mia's like, I don't know if I can do that. And so I don't know if she's gonna come clean or not, because I mean, Elena's down there finding out all the information, so I'm pretty sure Elena's gonna come back and tell it, honey. So we also end with Izzy burning whatever it was that she was taking Mia to apologize with. So, like, they keep setting it up like this is the second time, if I'm not mistaken. You've got Mia at her house burning stuff. You've got Izzy at her place burning stuff. So we're like, okay, who burnt the house down? Who tried to kill Elena? It was one of y'all, maybe. But watch it not be them. I'm telling you, it's gonna be somebody else. But I think Izzy burnt the thing just because, like I said, she's upset because now she thinks, I really do think now she has an infatuation with Mia. So I think now she's like, oh, Lexi's over there hanging out with Mia now. Like, I can't go over there. So this episode is really, really good. Real quick before we go. Okay, I got two theories. I got two, or maybe one. We'll see. I'm about to flesh them out. And you guys tell me what you think. Okay, first theory, since we're saying that Mia isn't Pearl's real mom. Okay, Mia's had a brother. I'm gonna assume he was an older brother. Say that woman and Mia's brother, who is probably Jesse, I'm gonna assume, they had a hard time having a baby. Like Linda and Frank were having a hard time having a baby. They went to his younger sister, Mia, and said, hey, will you be our surrogate? She said yes. And then something happened and he died, because now we know he's dead. He died, and Mia ran off with Pearl. I'm going to assume first because it's like, oh, I'm going to keep something of my brother's. But then it turned into, well, this is my baby. I've given birth to this baby. Okay, that's first theory. Second theory, her and that woman were in love, but that woman was married or something. And still, she was having a hard time having a baby. And Mia, she went to Mia as like her best friend maybe. And she was like, hey, will you do this for me, good best friend? And Mia was like, oh yeah, I'll do it for you. But then towards like the end of the pregnancy, she was like, oh, this is my child, and ran off. Because remember, Mia said in the painting that she made of her, that painting that's up, when she was telling Elena about it, she was like, I wanted her to seem monstrous. So that means, to me, she, like, that's what Pearl's been seeing all her life, that painting of that woman. So to Pearl, she seems monstrous. So I think, all in all, I don't know who the father is, but I bet you at least the mother is Pauline. I believe Pauline is at least Pearl's, like, biological mom, because I'm gonna assume they did the whole, yeah. Anyways, y'all tell me how y'all felt about this episode. There was a lot going on. Tell me your theories about who you think Pearl's like real parents are. Do you think Mia was a surrogate for her brother, or do you think Mia was a surrogate for like Pauline, who might have been her best friend or lover, who was still married though? Like, let me know how y'all felt. Let me know. Oh, also, we see at the end of this episode that Lexi is going to just act like nothing happened. I don't think she's gonna tell anyone else. It might come out down the line, maybe, but for right now, she's about to just act like it just that choice is what she made, and she's gonna act like it never happened. Do y'all think that eventually that's gonna come out? And do you think that Pearl and Trip are going to hide their relationship from Moody? Do y'all think that? So y'all just let me know what you think down below. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see me the next time I post, and I will see you guys later. Bye.